Hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about universal health care. I believe everyone in the United States should have the right to proper health care and medical services no matter who they are or where they come from. In today's world, there are far too many people who live without proper medical services or health care because it costs too much or they simply do not have access to it. Everyone in the United States should be able to have access to quality medical care. The topic of healthcare is one that has long been debated and has seen changes with each presidential election. Regardless of the change, the United States healthcare system is flawed and needs to be improved in order to catch up with the rest of the world. It is up to our generation to push for a change in the way healthcare is viewed and utilized in our country. According to Judy Fetter from the Center for American Progress Action Fund in 2009, nearly 47 million Americans were living without health insurance. This number is shocking and scary as it indicates a larger problem in our society. Of those 47 million who were uninsured, many were below the age of 26. Under the Affordable Care Act, the number of uninsured young adults and children has dropped from 37% to 27.4%. But college-age students still remain one of the largest groups of uninsured Americans. So for those college students who say healthcare laws and changes don't affect them, they need to think again. Without healthcare, it is hard to afford any sort of medical procedures or expenses that go beyond the care provided by an on-campus medical facility. Most illnesses and injuries would result in an out-of-pocket expense for young adults without coverage. This is simply not affordable for the typical young adult and would often result in postponed or neglected care, which in turn increases the problem and has a greater expense in the long run. The United States is falling behind as a global leader in providing medical care compared to the rest of the world. While the Obama administration made a few steps in the right direction with the Affordable Care Act, giving health care to more Americans and making it more accessible, the Trump administration threatens to erase all of that. According to research done by the Kaiser Family Foundation, the 2018 fiscal year budget report requests to cut the global health programs by about $2.5 billion. This means that we're cutting funds that are already low. According to the Kaiser report, the impact of such budget cuts would result in an increase of diseases such as TB and HIV, as well as increasing maternal, infant, and child mortality rates. Regardless of the political affiliation, universal health care is beneficial to all. How can the U.S. expect to be a global leader when we cannot even put the proper funds towards such a basic human right as health care? Other countries around the world have developed universal healthcare and are leading the way for the future of healthcare, while the United States has fallen behind and tries to play catch-up. According to Melissa Hellman from Times Magazine in 2014, the U.S. had the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and the nation ranked lowest in terms of efficiency, equity, and outcomes. And according to the most recent study done by the World Health Organization, or WHO, in 2000, the U.S. only ranked 37th in efficiency of healthcare, and our rank hasn't changed much over the last 2 decades. However, at the same time, almost all European countries have universal healthcare programs, meaning healthcare is free and accessible to everyone in the country. And the majority of leading developed countries have universal healthcare, or at least some form of it, including Japan and Canada. Indeed, this is something that has been and can be accomplished within developed countries of the world. I urge our government leaders for our country to push forth the resources to study and follow the example of other countries that have been successful in providing healthcare coverage for all of its citizens. Although some people will argue against universal healthcare because it is seen to be a privilege, I would argue that most people would provide themselves with healthcare if they were financially able to do so. However, quality of healthcare is not a privilege, it's a basic necessity of life. People don't choose to live within the social classes in which they were born and raised. And while it is an innate desire to strive to be better than the previous generations, generational poverty continues to exist. Therefore, healthcare should not be denied simply because someone was not blessed to have been born and raised in the upper class of our society. It should be a basic right provided to all. We need to have a better healthcare system for our future generations to grow and thrive in this world. I hope that after this speech you will contact your legislators to show support for providing healthcare coverage for all. Thank you.